Today, we are power ranking every team in the NFL. The ball is on the 25, and it is 1st and 10. Welcome back to the show. Today, folks, as we mentioned before, we are power ranking all 32 teams in the NFL. We're going to separate it in categories of 8 and go up the list from bottom to the top. Leave some suspense there for the end. But before we do all that, because this is going to be a really fun episode, guys, Metro, my co-host, sir, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. Our last power rankings was a few months ago, so as the preseason is here, we are now going to go ahead and update these rankings. We are recording this August 17th, so a little bit before some of these other preseason games. With that said, though, one more week of preseason, then the season starts, so this should hold up. Let's hop into it. We're going to compare Cade's list to my list. Who wants to go first, you or me?
I'll let you go first because I was yapping first to start the episode.
Okay, so at number 32, I have the New Orleans Saints. Number 31, I have the Tennessee Titans. 30, the Cleveland Browns. 29, the New York Jets. 28, the Carolina Panthers. 27, the New York Giants. 26, the New England Patriots. And number 25, the Miami Dolphins.
Very respectable. For my list, at 32, we have the Titans. 31, the Saints. 30, the Jets. 29, the Browns. 28, the Dolphins. 27, the Colts. 26, the Jaguars. And 25, the Panthers. Where do we want to start, Metro? I think probably at the bottom two. We got them opposite. We got Titans, Saints, just flip-flopped.
I think the only team that we have different in our list is you have the Colts here, and I don't, and I have the Giants here, and you don't. So we'll talk about those teams a little bit later because, spoiler alert, the Colts are in my next little section here, so we'll talk about them here in just a moment. And the Giants, I think, are also in Cade's next as well, so we'll talk about that here in just a second. Let's start off with the Saints and Titans. Let's be honest. I think everyone has these two as the bottom. Both have quarterback problems. Both have roster problems. Both have a lot of problems. So which one do you want to start with, Titans or the Saints?
We'll start with the Titans just because they picked first this year in this draft. Yep. For the Titans, I'll summarize it quickly, and I'll let you speak to anything you have to say, sir. The Titans, you got your quarterback, and you have some pieces on the offensive line, maybe 1 or 2.5. And that's really it. The defense is a work in progress. Of course, you have players, but just you don't have any kind of supporting cast. That's okay, though. You're rebuilding. You can afford a year like this. And that's really all I have to say. I just don't think they have much firepower.
Yeah, I agree with you. Work in progress is a good way to talk about the Titans. You have your quarterback. You feel like you have a couple pieces here and there, but it's just kind of a roster where you want to build towards the future, but they have a couple players in like the middle of their prime, like Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley, Jeffrey Simmons. So it's kind of weird with how the roster is constructed, and I'm sure they want to start competing here soon. We'll see if they can take the step forward this year. I think the Titans are going to be a case of we're competitive, but we're not winning any games. I think that's what they're going to be like this year. So, yeah, they're my second to last. The Saints were my last, and the Saints are second to last for you. For me, I just have zero faith in their quarterbacks. Tyler Shock has looked very mediocre. I mean, he's made a few nice plays here and there, but this most recent preseason game he really struggled, and I have no faith in him nor Spencer Rattler. I like their young offensive line, and I like some of their pieces in the outside, but I just don't think they're good enough, and I think with the new coaching staff, they're going to struggle, and I would not be shocked if they end up with the number 1 pick.
Agree with you there, and the only reason I have them flipped, I think the Saints roster is just better than the Titans, but the quarterback is definitely worse. So that's why I have them flipped, but it's only just 1 pick away, so it's not that big a deal.
Yes, we also have the Browns and Jets flipped, which is super funny, but we want to start with the Jets. I think it's pretty simple here. They're just not good enough yet.
Yeah, Jets, Jets. You have your man, Justin Fields. He's looked fine in preseason. I think he's going to serve his purpose for the Jets. He's going to play decent. He's going to not lose you games, not win you games, and be the bridge that they need. And if he outperforms those expectations, now he gets a bigger contract, and that's your guy. And he's a first-round level talent quarterback. And I know that was a long time ago, but he has talent is my point. And I think it's a gap year for the Jets with a new head coach. Yeah,
I actually think the Jets will be another one of those teams that's competitive, but I have some glaring concerns with this team, primarily with the receiving core. I think outside of Garrett Wilson, I have zero faith in any of those wideouts. in my opinion, this would be a very run-heavy team with a host of different running backs, with Justin Fields running the football a lot. And unfortunately, I just don't think they're dominant enough quite yet to be one of those teams that can consistently rely on their ground game. I think defensively, they're fine. They have some pieces. Of course, Sauce, Quinnen, Quincy, they got some pieces, but it's definitely a work in progress. I think this is kind of, like you said, a bit of a gap year where I don't think they'll be great this year. They'll probably end up with like a top 10 pick, but I think potentially next year they could be pretty solid. And, Justin Fields, he's not the quarterback of their future, in my opinion. I'm not a big Fields guy, so that's why I have them a little bit lower than, honestly, I thought they would be. And then there's the Browns. Who's playing quarterback? I have zero clue. Is it Shador? Is it Dillon? Is it Joe Flacco? Is it Pickett? Right now, it looks like Flacco will be the guy, but for how many weeks? The offensive line is injury prone. The receiving core is not very good, though they did just sign Isaiah Bond. Shout out to Bond for that all stuff clearing out. So hopefully he can fix his career up with the Browns. And I like some of the pieces defensively, but with the injury to Emerson, I have some concerns with this defense. I think this Browns team is going to honestly not be very good this year, and I think they'll be looking for a quarterback next year.
Well said, man. I don't feel a purpose on this Browns team, and that's my biggest question.
Ooh, that was cold. That was a fire bar. This team has no purpose.
I'm saying they had no. I'm saying that sounded rough, man. What's the purpose of life? No, it's not what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is I don't feel like they have a sense of direction. They're not all pulling in the same way, you just can't move forward that way.
Yeah. And preaching to the choir right now, man.
That's just it's kind of where I stand. But that's all I have to say on the Browns, and I already talked about the Jets. Dolphins, I see you have them at 25 and I have them at 28. Would you like to kick them off because you're a little bit more positive on them than I am?
Yeah, speaking about flipping, we flipped the Dolphins and Panthers.
We
did not do this on purpose. We did not do this on purpose. Look, so we'll talk about the Dolphins and then Panthers afterwards. So for me, I like the Dolphins, but I don't like them in the same ways. I think they have some pieces offensively, if healthy, that could score a bunch of points, like Tua, Tyreek, Waddle, Devon Achane. Like, they have some weapons there, but that offensive line is not going to be very good. I think they're going to have the same issues they had last year. Their tight end room is very questionable. And defensively speaking, I don't really know what to expect from the secondary. I know they have a good pass rush. They have some guys up front that can get the job done, but I don't really love the secondary too much. I have them at 25. Could you convince me to move them up a few spots? Yeah, potentially, and that's just because I think Tua, Tyreek, and Waddle is a great little trio there. But I mean, look, every time Tua drops back, I am fearful that he is going to get hurt, and I don't know what I'm getting from Tyreek at this stage of his career. So that's why they're at 25. I'm sure it's probably the same general reasons for Cade. Could the Dolphins make the playoffs? Maybe. It would have to be off the backs of a dynamic passing game, but I'm not too bought into that right now.
Yeah, Dolphins, they have a handful of really big star players, and the rest of it, I think the head coach is kind of in a weird spot. If he starts winning games in September, I think it goes away really quickly, which is kind of strange, but also, obviously winning cures everything. But also, there's been a lot of shades and bad vibes within the building. Kind of not the level of the Browns, but players seem to want out. Tyreek Hill's making cryptic messages every other month, so it's a weird situation. I wouldn't want to be in that building working every day. It seems like a lot.
Yeah, and then for the Panthers, I have the Panthers a little lower than you, and honestly, I'm totally fine with where you have them as well. I'm just a little bit cautious with the Panthers. I don't want to buy too much into their stocks. By the way, Nick Scorton, their second-round pick, dealt with an injury. I think he's going to miss a couple weeks, which is a huge loss for them.
That's rough.
I think he was a lung injury, so that's really scary. So hopefully he's okay because I thought he was going to play a pretty sizable role for this team. I like Bryce Young. I think Bryce is a fine quarterback, but I'm not ready to buy into him yet. I mean, he's only played maybe 4, 5, 6 good quality games, and outside of that, he's been ass. Let's be honest. He's not been good. So I'm a little cautious about that, and this defense, I think, is going to lose them a lot of games. I think this offense will be good enough to keep them in some games, but I don't buy into this defense. I think they'll be better than last year because I think they can stuff the run a lot better with Derek Brown. And, they'll be improved from last year, but I don't think they're going to be drastically improved. I think they will probably outplay their ranking, but I don't think they're going to end up playing that well.
Fair. I have a big belief in Dave Canales. I'm not saying they're going to be a world beater team, but I respect his play calling. I think he's a leader of men, and I think him and Bryce will be the ones to right this ship. And that's kind of where I have them, just a couple spots higher than you here. Any other teams that we missed? I see you have the Colts higher. We can get to that here in a second if you want to. And anybody else we're missing?
We talked Dolphins. We can. I mean, I know you have the Patriots a lot higher. I can see his rankings. So Patriots are a little bit higher for you. So are the Giants. Let's go and move over to the next section, and we can kind of fill these ones out. So
the floor is yours.
Me? All right. 24, Jacksonville Jaguars. 23, Indianapolis Colts. 22, the Chicago Bears. 21, the Las Vegas Raiders. 20, the Atlanta Falcons. 19, the Dallas Cowboys. 18, the Cincinnati Bengals. And 17, the San Francisco 49ers.
At 24, I have the Raiders. 23, I have the Cowboys. 22, the 49ers. 21, I have the Steelers. 20, the Bengals. 19, the Giants. 18, the Seahawks. And 17, the Atlanta Falcons. Let's start with the Colts and the Jaguars, as you have them both.
Nope. We got to talk about the Giants. You have the Giants in front of the Cowboys? Are you drinking the Jackson Dart Kool-Aid here?
Not even Jackson Dart. Have you seen this defense, man? Cowboys can't replicate that. It has looked nasty. It has looked nasty, and you should be scared.
No, I'm not scared. I ain't scared, no. Look, Dak Prescott owns this guy, all right? Dak is destroyed. I don't think he's maybe lost once to the New York Giants, all right?
Okay.
I have look, I will say, their defense is loaded. They have a really solid roster. I have them at 27 because their fucking schedule is brutal, dude. I don't see how they can win these games.
I agree with you. If I was predicting standings, it'd be different. But I'm predicting the team on the field, Metro, and I think they're 19.
I stick with my standing here. I think part of the reason why I don't think they can be higher on mine is because I think they're going to lose a lot of games next year. And look, I think quarterback is still a bit of a weakness for them. I think Dable could be fired by week 5 for all we know. Like, that wouldn't be shocking. You have Neighbors, you have Tracy. I think roster-wise, they're actually in a good spot. But I think with the coaching staff and with where that's at, I'm a little bit worried about their long-term security. But in the future, I actually think the Giants are actually in a nice little spot here. I think they have a good roster with some good pieces, but I think it comes down to, can the coaching staff get the job done? What does the quarterback room look like? Deonte Banks. So I have a couple of question marks, hence why I have them at 27, but I kind of think they'll outplay that ranking come mid-season. Having them in front of the Cowboys, though, kind of pisses me off.
For reference, I think y'all can see the screen, but at 19, I have the Giants, and Metro has the Cowboys at 19, and Metro put the Giants at 27. One thing I do want to say on the Giants, obviously, based on what the owner has said in Mara, their head coach is on the hot seat, as in Dable. But I wish that wasn't the case, because this team, like you just mentioned, they're turning the corner. The roster's looking good. Even, I'm not going to say I've seen Dart play some good preseason games. That doesn't mean he's going to be a good quarterback, okay? But it's promising. It's good to see. Point is, we have promise. Usually, when you see promise in an NFL team, that's hard to find, and it flips a year later, and the schedule's not absolutely brutal, you will win some damn games. So I hope ownership can bite their tongue for one more year, because it's going to be a rough one. Let's just call it what it is. One more year and see how 2026 goes, because I think that is fair, and they have shown promise in rebuilding this roster.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. Okay, now let's talk about these AFC South teams, the Colts and Jaguars, which, ironically enough, you have them paired right next to each other at 26 and 27, and I have them paired right next to each other at 23, 24. I'm a little higher on the Colts than the Jaguars. It looks like you're a little higher than the Jaguars than the Colts, so I'll hand it off to you. You want to talk about the Colts?
Yeah, the Colts, I think they have talent on defense. They made some good acquisitions in the secondary this year. But overall, the quarterback situation is a little bit scary to me. I think AR getting a little bit roughed up and hurt in preseason does not help. I think having Daniel Jones figure it out on this team doesn't help as well. If someone steps up, this team goes up about 8 spots immediately, and that's without being said. That's no questions. But I think there's just too many of the questions for me to rank the Colts higher. And then for the Jags, real quick, before I throw it back to Metro on these two. Jaguars, they have high-end talent, especially as in the wide receiver game. And if T-Law can just take a notch forward or just be average, I think this team will compete with more than you think.
Yep, no, you're 100% right. I totally agree with you. Colts, it's just for me, I have a little bit more faith in the roster. I like their roster a lot. I think their roster by itself is good enough. Quarterback room is a massive question mark, and Shane Steichen is also a bit on the hot seat too. So, we'll see what this team is at 4 or 5 weeks from now. They can be, honestly, a pretty different looking team by weeks 6 or 7 or 8, with the head coach and even the quarterback room. And then for the Jaguars, I actually like the Jaguars roster. I just don't like it as much as the Colts. And I think the Colts roster can get them a little bit farther than what the Jaguars can do. But Liam Cohen and who they have at receivers with Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter, and then Trevor Lawrence now out there. I think the system should be good. I think it might be a fun season, but those two teams are really tight. And I think if you want to go Jaguars over Colts, that's fine. But for now, I have the Colts over the Jaguars.
Very fair. For this next team, let's jump to the 49ers, who you have at 17 and I have at 22. You are the front runner and the candidate for the 49ers. So what do you love about the Metro? You have them at 17, right on the cusp of being above average.
Yeah, look, kind of like the Giants, I think their schedule is just a cakewalk. I think they can breeze through it and get 10 to 12 wins, gain a lot of continuity. The big thing for the Niners is just can they stay healthy? They're already starting to deal with a couple little injuries here and there. So if they can stay healthy, I do think they have the upper tier talent. Trent Williams, Kittle. I know Ayuk is hurt for now, but he'll come back at some point. McCaffrey, you have Fred Warner, you have Nick Bosa. The upper tier talent is still there. And this Niners team reminds me of, some of the honestly, a little bit like the Cowboys in some ways, where they have all this upper echelon talent, but do they have the supplementary pieces right now? With their schedule, I have them a little bit higher, but if their schedule was a difficult one, they'd be a little bit lower. It's just that, their schedule is so easy that I think they'll pick up a lot of wins next year.
Very fair. And then for the Niners, I'll yap real quick. Like you said, health is everything. But every single year, this team, it just has too many stars that consistently get hurt. And that's not their fault. Like, bodies age. We're all human. We break down. These guys have been vets for a long time, and they've just proven that their bodies are pretty tired. And I'm not going to expect Kittle, CMC, and Trent to all stay healthy for a season. That is damn near impossible. So, with that being said, call me a pessimist for this one, but I don't see the stars aligning. If they do, we're kicking some ass. But they also lost a lot of things on players on defense. So they're not massive stars, but they are big role players, and I think that'll hit them as well.
All right. We have not yet talked about the Patriots. That will be one of our next conversations in the next section, because Cade's a lot higher than I am. So we'll talk about the Patriots here in a moment. We want to talk about, we have Raiders we could talk about. We could talk about the Falcons or the Bengals. Which one?
Let's go Raiders first.
Okay. Look, Raiders, I like what they're building. I think it's just a year away. I think they have a lot of questions on defense, especially now that Wilkins is off the roster. But I like this offense. I think Brock Bowers, Jency, and Geno Smith are going to score a decent amount of points next year, and they're going to win a handful of games. But their defense will let them down in high-stakes moments and against high-level competition. I think they're heading in the right direction. Give this team 2-3 more years, and they'll be one of the top teams in the NFL.
Love that. I'm just going to talk about them all right here. 20 to 24, I put in kind of their own tier. The Bengals all the way down to the Raiders. It's the Bengals, Steelers, 49ers, Cowboys, and Raiders. I feel like they have star power, and the rest of the roster is lacking big time. And you have all your money in these top players, and the rest just not filled out. And I think you can only go so far with that, and for that, they're limited. So that's kind of how I view all these teams, especially the Raiders, who you have Genty, a rookie running back. I think he's going to be great. There's no question how amazing he was in college, but he has to step up. Brock Bowers has to be amazing again, and Geno has to be better than he was the previous 2 years. He's been kind of on a down slope. And then besides that, we got a lot of questions. Of course, got Max Crosby back there kicking ass on the edge, but without these couple of stars, there's not a ton on this team. It lacks substance.
Yeah. We'll talk about the Steelers here in a moment because I have them a little bit higher than you. But we can talk about the Bengals. I know you kind of bunched them up there, but specifically with the Bengals, look, what you said is correct. They have the top-end talent. Chase and Burrow is, let's be honest, maybe the best duo in the entire NFL. They are just such a nasty combination, but then outside of those guys, the offensive line has some questions. Is Chase Brown really the guy? And can the defense not be the worst in the NFL? Like, those are all serious questions. And preseason, at least in week 1, they did not look very good. And I don't think they played their second preseason game, which if I was the Bengals, I don't think I'd start any of my starters because of how bad that last game was. But yeah, look, the Bengals defense is very questionable, and I worry that you're putting so much pressure on Burrow and Chase that, maybe they could have an injury here and there. I do have the Bengals at 18, and that's just because I believe in Burrow, Chase so much. But, you're at 20 with them. I can totally see that. So who else do we want to talk about here?
I do have one quick thing on the Bengals. They remind me so much of NBA trade deadlines to where a team acquires another star, and now you look at like a top 3, like a big 3, right, on a team. You're like, holy shit, they're going to run through everybody in their conference. And then you're like, well, where are the bench players? Who's starting at center? And it's not a full team. So kind of back to what you were saying, though. Go ahead. 100%. I interrupted you, sir.
They remind me of like the Phoenix Suns. You got KD, you got Devin Booker, you got Bradley Beal. But who's your starting center? Who's your next guy off the bench? That's kind of where the Bengals are at right now. Really good comparison. We haven't talked about the Falcons. You're a little bit higher on them at 17. I have them at 20. I love this roster. I think there's a lot of things to like here. I worry a little bit about the edge rushing still. I think there's some question marks there. And, second-year quarterback, but he's getting his first ever full season start here, so there's some questions there. I think Bijan, London, I even think Pitts could be in for a big year. By the way, don't draft him first round unless you want to lose. I've seen a lot of people drafting Kyle Pitts earlier than usual. Don't buy into
first round?
It. Yeah, it's a meme right now on TikTok. People are buying him in the first round.
That's absurd. Might as well. Absurd. I'll do it too. Why not?
I saw people are doing these like boards, like actual like physical boards, and they'll take a picture of it afterwards, and you just see Kyle Pitts in round 1. You're like, bro, you're gonna lose. And it's frustrating too because you see their draft, they're cooking, right? And then the first overall pick is like Kyle Pitts. It's just like, dude, you could have had such a god squad, but you wanted to do it for the culture and take Kyle Pitts. But I think he could be in for a nice little year here. But for me, I'm just a little bit cautious with young quarterbacks. I like to see them prove it before I could put them any higher. Although I think this team has the talent to be pretty darn good next year.
Yeah, like you mentioned, they just got a bunch of edge rusher talent off of the edge, obviously. In the draft is what I meant to say. They have James Pierce Jr., and they also acquired, who's the other one? The Walker, the guy from Georgia, right?
Jalen Walker.
Yeah, they got Walker, and they traded that for Pierce. If one of those two hits in their rookie year, this defense gets a lot better. And if they both end up contributing in their rookie year, holy shit, watch out now. Now we got something cooking on defense. Penix, how far does he step up this year? Is he a franchise quarterback? I think he showed signs, but you got to put it all together. A lot of good things for the Falcons. I think it's a great place to be for a team, like you said.
Yes, and so that does it for 17-32. We haven't talked about who have we not talked about yet.
We have not talked about. Patriots. I have the Bears way up. I have the Patriots way up, which we'll get here next to in the turn. And the Hawks, you have the Hawks 3 higher, spots, so we can wait there. We covered everybody, I believe.
Yeah. All right. Question of the day.
Question of the day. It is that time. We're at the midpoint of this episode. What is the question of the day? It is pretty much a non-football question that I force Metro to answer. He doesn't know what it is. It could be simple. It could be complicated. I like to start light and ramp it up as the season goes on. But today's question, Mr. Metro, what is the best concert you've ever been to?
Never been to a concert before.
What?
I know, I've never been.
That's insane, bro. Not a single concert?
I've never been to a concert. I got invited by a coworker to go to a weekend concert.
That's right. I was so mad at you.
I know. We've had the conversation, but I haven't told this before. So I had an invite to go with some friends to a weekend concert, and the drive would be like 3 hours. It was at AT&T Stadium, and I had the money for it. I just said no. And to this day, it's one of my biggest regrets in my life because I didn't go to the concert, and this concert was massive, by the way. I think they brought out some, 21 Savage or something crazy, right? And he's playing all the hits, and I'm literally watching it on YouTube, and I'm just like, why did I do this, dude? I'm literally watching it, laying in bed, lights are out, fucking just on my phone, watching the concert. I was watching it live, by the way, and I was like, I should have fucking gone, dude. I was so pissed off. I've never been to a concert, though, and I want to go. The next concert I'll go to will be probably The Weeknd. I know he's coming over to Dallas here in a few months or a few weeks maybe, so I might have to check him out. I think he is.
You deserve that. You need to go outside, dude. How are you not? Have you seen like a live band in a bar at least?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen like, when you go to like an outdoor restaurant, you got like some random dude who's just probably smoking weed on a little,
Living his best life, yeah.
Living his best life. I'm pretty sure he's not even doing it for money. He's just doing it for free. He's just doing it for the vibes.
That's right.
A couple of times I've seen that, and then sometimes you'll go to like a nice restaurant where they have the piano going on. That's always nice. Whenever you get the violin or piano going as you're eating, it's like it goes from a 3-star meal to a 5-star meal so much faster.
Metro, big piano, big violin guy. Well, you better go to the Weeknd concert, A, and then B. I've never met somebody in my life who's never been to a concert, so that's actually insane.
Have you been to one?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've been to a handful.
What was your best one?
My best one. I'm gonna sound like a little rave girl here, and that's okay. So, hey, listen. I've only been in like one of these shows.
Okay, no judging.
We're already judging, but that's okay. I saw Odessa live about a year ago.
Who?
Odessa. They're like EDM type. Fantastic is all I'll say. You have to go in person. It's a whole experience. It was great. I got to see them for work at Bonnaroo, and then I got to see them luckily again the same year at ACL in Austin. So it was cool.
Hell yeah.
It just worked out really well.
All right, back to the grind.
Yes, and before the grind, guys, we love making content for you on this channel together, but we also make our own content. Metro busts his ass and makes awesome NFL analysis content pretty much like, 5 times a week, every single day? How many times you post, Metro?
I'm trying to get it back to every single day, so hopefully I can keep that up.
This guy doesn't sleep, ladies and gentlemen. Metro, NFL analysis content, Metro Sports in the description. He works so hard. Give him a subscription down below. And if you're like, yo, NFL analysis is sweet, but I'm more of a draft guy, I'm your guy. It'll be Cade Rathbone right below there. Subscribe there as well. Thank you guys very much. And if you enjoyed the video, hit one of these. The thumbs up, the like, it boosts the algorithm like 10x. I'm not even kidding. And it shows you're enjoying the video, and YouTube algorithm is stupid, so you can make it smarter by dropping a like. Guys, that was our football question, or non-football question. Let's get back into our rankings. We are now going through the second quarter, the second top tier quarter of this. We're going from 9 to 16. Metro, kick us off.
All right, at number 16, I have the Arizona Cardinals. 15, the Seattle Seahawks. 14, the Green Bay Packers. 13, the Pittsburgh Steelers. 12, the Houston Texans. 11, the LA Chargers. 10, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And number 9, the Minnesota Vikings.
Very nice, very nice. At 16, I have the New England Patriots. At 15, I have the Texans. 14, the Bears, which are, wow, a lot of spots higher than you have them. 13, I have the Cardinals. 12, the Commanders. 11, the Vikings. 10, the Rams. 9, the Bucks. Where would we like to start? Probably with the Patriots, because I have them 10 spots higher. I have them at 16. You have them at... That's 26. Bad math. 26. Okay, I did good math. Good job. Yes. The Patriots. I believe in Vrabel. You talk about a team with a purpose and a direction. They got it. The opposite of the Browns in every way, shape, and form. I like what this team is slowly building on defense. It is not going to be there this year, but we are going to be on our way on offense. I like what we've seen out of Drake May. Nothing crazy, but it's promising. And the O-line's going to get a little bit better. I think this running game's going to be explosive, or at least more explosive with Henderson out there now. And hopefully at least one of these wide receiver weapons step up for Drake May and makes this offense click just a little bit more. Do I think they're going to make the playoffs? No, not what I'm saying. But I do think they're going to break a lot of hearts of some really good teams that will be in the playoffs throughout the regular season. Metro, did you talk about them before, or do you want to talk about them now?
No, I haven't talked about them yet. I have them at 26, and I 100% agree with you on everything you said, basically. I love Vrabel. I love the direction of this team. I think they're heading in the right direction. I think it needs 1 to 2 more years. I think this is a team that will outplay their ranking, but they will be fairly low on, I think, wins this year. I think they'll win somewhere between 7 to 8 wins. I think they could catch a drift towards the back end that gives them a few extra wins. I don't know what their schedule looks like, but if their schedule is favorable, then I could definitely see them making some plays here. I like this Patriots team. I think they're a competitive team, but I don't think they have the proven talent of some of these other rosters right now. And I think there's still some questions on the offensive line. I think there's still some questions with the receiving room and some general positions defensively. But all in all, I actually really do like this Patriots team. It's just, let me wait and see for right now. Give me a few weeks, and then they might move up my power rankings.
Well said, brother. Next, we have the Cardinals. You have them at 16. I have them at 13. Did you want to cover off on any of your thoughts there?
Yeah, Cardinals. I started off the offseason very high on them, and clearly I still am. They're at 16, and I don't think last year they probably would have been 16th. I have simmered a smidge on them, and it hasn't really been anything to do with them necessarily. It's just that I've seen some of these other teams improve, and it kind of made me push them down a little bit, but I'm still very high on them. I think they have the chance to make the playoffs this year. My big question for them is, can they get Marvin Harrison going, and what does Kyler Murray look like? If those two guys are cooking, then this Cardinals team can be pretty darn good. But for now, I'm a little bit more pessimistic with them. Let's wait and see. I think they'll be really good next year, but they're at my 16. There's some of these other teams in front of them have changed my opinions of them here and there. And where do you have the Cardinals at? You have
13.
Them at
I have them 3
13.
above you, I believe.
Yeah.
That's good math? Yeah, that's good math. I'm smart. Cardinals, just like you mentioned, Metro, I think on defense they made some good additions in free agency and the draft. They got some good picks. They got Walter Nolan, I believe, and Will Johnson, which I thought were fantastic values for where they were. I believe in Gannon, especially on defense. This offense, if Kyler can figure this out just a little bit and go back to his early days in the NFL where he was taking the league by storm, and Marvin Harrison becomes more Marvin Harrison Jr., we're cooking with gas. This team gets really good, really fast, but we need to actually take those steps forward before we can project it. So 16 humbly and 13 humbly until they actually do it. Once they do, we're talking top 10, at least in my eyes.
Yes. Chicago Bears, I have them all the way down at 22. You have them all the way up at 14. Look, for me, I don't buy too much into what's been said during training camp. I could care less about all that stuff. Caleb Williams are struggling. Okay, whatever. Everyone's struggling at this point. We'll wait and see in the regular season. But that Bears team is talented as hell. They can be very good. I'm just not yet quite there with the roster. I think they are about 1 year of good chemistry and continuity. And if you guys watched our hot takes video, I do believe this team will start off slow, and I think by the end of it, they'll figure it out. So I'm looking at this team. I think they'll be, a good team, but never really a great team. They'll be competitive, especially later in the season. And I think 2026 will really be their year.
I agree with you 100%. The reason I have the Bears 8 spots higher is I think the roster's a little bit ahead of where you said, though. And the big thing is I'm a big O-line guy. If you have a good O-line, I'm kind of biased, and I'm going to put you up the board a little bit. I love the moves they made this offseason, and I think if they're going to have a chance, it will be consistently because of that front 3 and the front 5 altogether. So I think with a quarterback like Caleb, who needs to develop, he's got the best path and the weapons to as well. And if they take a step up, it'll be because of the big boys up front.
Okay, let me talk really quickly about the Steelers. You have the Steelers at 21. I have them at 13.
Higher.
Yeah, I think a lot of the things you said I actually agree with in terms of they're missing a few pieces, and I think they're missing a lot of them on the offensive end. The receiving core is not very good. Running back room has to prove it to me. Offensive line is very questionable, especially in the tackles. And that could definitely hurt Rodgers in his first year here. I just think this defense is nasty as hell. I think this defense is going to be really good next year, and I think they'll carry them to probably another playoff spot. And they'll probably lose in round 1, but they at least made it the playoffs. I think that defense is nasty. I do really worry about that offense, though. Can Rodgers stay healthy? What does the supporting cast look around him? But when you have that defense, I think they can have a bit more room for error, and I think they'll be pretty good next year.
The unction is what we referred to the Steelers as a couple episodes ago. And you said everything on the head, man. This team, defense is their pride and joy, and that's not going to change. And on offense, if you've been on any kind of team format, it's very unique in football because you have the offensive unit and the defensive unit. When the defense is kicking ass and the offense just can't get anything going, it's a nasty feeling. When an offense is doing their thing and the defense is struggling, it's like, hey, we get it, shit happens, because it's harder to defend than to attack, in my opinion. But when the offense can't do shit, you're like, what did you prepare all week for? It's a bad scene. The sideline is on pins and needles. The quarterback scanning through a clipboard and his iPad, pretending to be pissed. And I think it's a bad recipe for disaster. And but this team, if they've proven anything, man, the Steelers just win games. In the playoffs, but they win games during the regular season, so I respect this ranking at 13. The next team, Metro, who we get to pivot to?
Texans. Let's do Texans real quick.
Very nice. Houston Texans. I'll summarize it in about, 4 sentences. Badass defense. I mean, going to be top 5 in the league. It's going to be quite terrifying with a no-fly zone secondary and also some fantastic edge rushers. Offense, O-line, kind of cheeky. All right, it wasn't very good last year. I don't think it's going to be very good this year. C.J. Stroud, he was in a slump but won a playoff game. I think they're good enough on offense, and their defense is going to be phenomenal. That combined will win you games and get you in the hunt for the ring. But what do you think, Metro?
Yeah, I think the Texans will cruise to another division title. I think offensively they have the necessary pieces, especially in the receiving core, and I think Joe Mixon's really good. That offensive line is really the only reason why they're why they're outside of my top 10. But I look at that defense is awesome. They have a great defensive coordinator, some great pieces, excellent secondary that can create turnovers, a defensive line that can get to the quarterback and stuff the run fairly well. It's just that offensive line really scares me, and I know that they have a new OC and they can work around those things, but when it comes down to it, in high-stake pressure situations, I want to have a good offensive line, and I just don't trust this Texans line quite yet. Maybe that could be changed, but I don't trust it right now. I like Stroud, though. I think Stroud will help this team quite a bit. They'll make the playoffs, and honestly, they'll probably win another playoff game this year, but I think they're probably going to be in a pretty similar situation to where they've been the past 2 years.
Very nice. We have the Vikings and Bucks very close to each other, and then the Rams you have further up the board, and the Chargers I have further up the board, so we will wait on those. Vikings, I'll let you take the floor. What are you looking for out of this Vikings team? And obviously you think they finished top 10 this year, but what are the big factors for you on this Vikings team?
Look, defensively it's going to be create turnovers, get to the quarterback, and get the offense back on the field. For the offense, it's going to be keep J.J. McCarthy safe, give him an easy playbook, easy reads, get open, feed Jefferson, feed Addison, feed Hawkinson, run the football effectively. And I think they have the recipe for success. I do think, though, again, it's one of those things that has been pretty consistent on my list here. I have a hard time trusting young quarterbacks, especially a essentially rookie in J.J. McCarthy. I think that, however, in this particular scenario, though, McCarthy has kind of very little excuse to not be somewhat successful next year because of how good the team is around him. Just don't turn the ball over, take care of the football, force turnovers defensively, and, JJ, just do your job. And I think if you can do that, this team should be around a top 10 level team. I think they're very, very handicapped, though, when it comes to the playoffs. I don't think they're going to be a serious playoff threat or anything like that, but I think they'll be close to winning the NFC North and make things competitive late and make the playoffs and maybe win a playoff game or two, but I think they're a little handicapped in that second round. One thing I did want to note, the Packers are, for me, at 14. For you, they're a lot higher, so we'll put a pin in that one and talk about the Packers in here just in a bit.
Good comms. Hey, guys, Metro is – look at – dude, he's clearly the best in the business. That was such a good analysis. Thank you, buddy. I don't even have shit to say. You did so good. Let's go to the Bucks. The Buccaneers. Offense, top 5 last year. Phenomenal. Could not stop him. Baker Mayfield was feeling dangerous like he used to in college, and he was tearing up the field with a gunslinging arm. Defense, average, okay? They could be better.
They got better, though.
They did get better. Correct. They did get better. We just did an episode on them, actually. Our last episode was a Bucks breakdown from top to bottom, free agency draft, the whole ordeal. And what we learned was this team's going to be hella competitive, but do they have the extra oomph to actually compete for a title? We had a hard time putting them in the same category as these top 8 teams. And that's why we have them both, respectively, at 9 and 10, right on the cusp. Anything you got for the Bucks?
Yeah, I think they are right there. They feel really close. I think Baker has proven to be a top 10 level quarterback. I think they have the running backs, the receivers, the offensive line. I worry a little bit about this defense, but if Hassan Reddick goes out there and balls next year, then that could be a huge change of events. Same thing with like a Benjamin Morrison as well. If he could go out there and cook, then that would be nice. I think they're really close. Maybe not this year, but I think within the next couple of years, they'll be really in the conversation. So they're at my number 10. I really wanted to move them up the board like a lot higher, but there's just so many good teams. I had a hard time doing it. So, that's why I had them at 10.
Very nice. We talked about the Seahawks. Just want to confirm, right?
Did we? Seahawks. No, I don't think we did.
I don't think we did. Well, we got you, Hawks fans. We got you. Seahawks, I see you have them 3 higher than me. You have them at 15. I have them at 18. The Hawks have a very young, talented defense. good defensive play caller in Mike McDonald. Just can Darnold do it again, right? Can he do it again? Can Kupp be a mirror of what he used to be 2 years ago? And can JSN take a full wide receiver 1 role for a full season? I think he could do it, but we will find out. And also, can their running back room stay healthy? O-line's also kind of rough. A lot of questions is my point on offense. On defense, we're feeling really promising. Just I can't put you any higher than 18 in my eyes. But what are your thoughts, Metro?
Yeah, I'm at 15. It's funny. We talked about the Seahawks earlier in the offseason, and I've done it on my channel a couple times. And I'm watching their preseason games, and it felt like everything that we were saying just came to reality because they played their starters for I think 2 or 3 drives this past game, and it was like, man, when they get into a rhythm, it's so hard to stop them. When Darnold is clicking, when JSN, Cooper Kupp, the running game's going, it was really fun, and they had their whole offensive line out there too, and they looked a lot better when they were healthy. So that's the key for the Seahawks. Just keep the offensive line healthy, be on rhythm. No setbacks. If you have a setback, the offense will struggle a little bit, but I think they have all the necessary pieces to be a really good team. I love their defense. I think their defense could be, yes.
Would you rather have, if you were a fan, would you rather be in the franchise place of the Seahawks or the Falcons?
Ooh.
2 different scenarios. Like on the Seahawks, you kind of plug and play to quarterback for your starter. The defense has a lot of young promise. For the Falcons, you have a quarterback who you drafted, and he's kind of up and coming and a bunch of cool offensive weapons, but the defense has questions for sure. Just 2 different scenarios. What are your thoughts, though?
I think I'd rather be in the Seahawks scenario because I believe a lot in JSN. I think JSN's really good. I like Drake London a lot too, though. Bijan's good. Kyle Pitts, solid offensive line. Honestly, it's pretty darn close. I guess I'll take the Seahawks because I like their coach a little bit more, and I think their defense is going to be really good this year. And I like having good defenses. I look at that Falcons defense, and I think they can be a little frustrating at times. Whereas the Seattle Seahawks, I think you can trust their defense a lot more.
Well said, man. Bird fight is officially over. The Seahawks win against the Falcons. Anything else on this second row of tier before we go to the number 1?
If this was reality, a Falcon would smoke a Seahawk, right?
Ro's getting clapped. It's not going to go too well for the Hawk in the sky, but the Falcon's going to get after it.
Who wins, a Falcon or an Eagle?
Oh, man.
I'm going to look at a Falcon.
I'm going to go Eagle, man. Those are some mean-looking birds. They do not play around.
Oh, yeah. No, Falcons aren't even that big, actually. Well,
they're cool. Like, you can see some big-ass Falcons, but Eagles are just, bro, they're mean. They just, and they just get after your ass. I don't want to mess with any kind of eagle.
Okay, I looked it up, and this is from, I guess, a YouTube video. Falcons and eagles are both powerful birds of prey, but they have distinct differences in size, hunting style, and flight patterns. Eagles are larger and stronger with broad wings for soaring and powerful talons. Falcons are smaller, faster, and more agile, known for their powerful dives and pointed wings. Man.
So what I'm hearing is an Oklahoma drill is that Falcon's getting his ass beat one-on-one.
Well, yes, but if the eagle takes a bad angle, he's going for 6.
Good aim. Good point, Metro.
I looked it up a little bit more. In a direct confrontation, an eagle would generally defeat a falcon. But, like we mentioned, this is football. This isn't life or death. For football, you want a falcon. Eagles are playing defense. Falcon, you want at running back, all right?
Fair. And that's kind of how each of the teams are designed, too. Anything else on these teams? And by the way, fantastic comp right there.
No, I have, let's see. I'm trying to think if we missed any team. Packers, we'll talk about here in a moment. I think we talked about every team.
We're doing good. We
haven't talked Chargers. We'll get to them in a moment. All right, yeah. Let's go to our top 8. I'll let you go first, and then I'll follow up.
Cool. Top 8 for me. We have the Broncos. My good. At 8, we have the Broncos. 7, we have the Lions. 6, we have the Packers. 5, I have the Chargers. 4, I have the Chiefs. I kept saying we. Everything is I. 4 is the Chiefs. 3 is the Bills. 2 are the Eagles. And then 1, I'm going to have the Baltimore Ravens. What say you, Metro?
Number 8, I have the Washington Commanders. Number 7, I have the Denver Broncos. Number 6, the Detroit Lions. 5, the LA Rams. 4, the Buffalo Bills. 3, the Kansas City Chiefs. 2, the Philadelphia Eagles. And number 1, the Baltimore Ravens. A lot of similarities here. I think we should start off with the Commanders.
I agree. You have them 4 spots higher. Why is that, Metro? I just think that's absolutely ludicrous, and you're just talking out your ass, man, so prove it to me.
Jaden Daniels.
Valid,
No,
completely valid.
We did a Commanders breakdown a little bit earlier, a few weeks ago, so if you want to check that out, go ahead and check it out. If you watch it, actually, you'll know that I was pretty harsh on them throughout the video.
You were. That's why I'm surprised.
Yeah, I didn't like their offseason in their draft. I think there was some mistakes they made with how they built their roster, and I still stand by that. But I have a lot of faith in Jaden Daniels, and they are a veteran team that has pressure to win now compared to some of these other teams that are still fairly young that have a few more years. Commanders are a team that have to go all in because it's actually a bit of an older roster, and I don't know, 2-3 years from now, I actually have some questions with this team. But when it comes to this upcoming season, I think they have enough pieces. They haven't got the Terry McLaurin deal done yet when we're recording it, so that's a massive question mark. But I did hear a report that they're starting to work on the deal, which
that's good.
I don't know why it's taking this long. Like, the guy is a consistent Pro Bowl receiver. I don't care if he's 30; he's damn good. By the way, Dallas, pay Micah Parsons, please. I'm just waiting. By the way, every single day I wake up, check my Instagram, I'm just scrolling, making sure Micah's still on my team. Dude, I'm fucking scared, man. I'm terrified.
You should be.
I think the Commanders are a good team. I think they'll make the playoffs, and I think they're probably the second best team in the NFC East for sure.
Ooh, I love it. Commanders have a lot to look forward to. This next team, we have the Broncos. I have them at 8. You have them at 7. The Broncos, man, what is there not to like? This defense should be the best defense in the National Football League this year. This offense, you have Bo Nix, who's going to take a step forward in his sophomore season, most likely. RJ Harvey is now in your backfield. That makes it more dynamic. Wide receivers, nothing crazy, but we were pretty productive last year with Cortland Sutton. O-line, they came to play, man. This is a really good front 5. This team feels solid and has a lot of depth, and it's built to go the distance. But, Metro, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Broncos. I think they have an offense. I think they have a defense. Defense, I think they're top 5. Offensively, I think they'll be somewhere in the top 10. Great play caller. I don't think Bo Nix will have a sophomore slump. I think his year is pretty repeatable. And, barring a lot of turnovers on the offensive end, I think they'll be pretty darn good. I think they have the pieces in the secondary. I think they have the front 7. The offense, I mean, there's a lot to like here. The only reason why this Broncos team is, not one of my favorites to win at all is just I don't know what their offense will look like in the playoffs, right? So once we get to that point, we'll get to know them a bit more. But until then, we just kind of have to wait and see.
Well said, man. Next team, we have the Lions. I have them at 7. You have them at 6. And I do have the Packers 1 spot ahead of the Lions, assuming they win the entire NFC North. Let me talk about my Motor City Kitties. The Lions are a top 5 team, but they lost an all-pro center in Frank Ragnow and both their coordinators, and they both got head coaching jobs, so you know they're damn good. That's the reason I have them at 7. Nothing else, nothing more. This team's still very good, very talented, but how do they adjust with this new turmoil and this adversity in front of them? What do you say?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I'm at 6. I still think they're a top contender in the NFC. I think they could easily make it to a Super Bowl. But, there's more adversity than what there was last year. New OC, new DC, new starting center. Aiden Hutchinson coming off a broken leg is, something to be a little bit cautious with. Look, if this team can find ways to stay healthy and play up to level as they did last year, they'll be right back in the conversation to be the best team in the NFL. But we got to wait and see what these new coaches look like. And I still think they're going to win the NFC North, but I think there's a lot of competition there too.
Very nice. Next team at 6, I have the Packers 8 spots ahead of Metro. It's a pretty big jump, like the biggest jump here in our rankings. I have the Patriots 10 ahead of Metro, so this is the top 5 difference between our rankings. Packers, they were effective last year. I like their defense. The secondary has some questions. Don't get me wrong. Their cornerback room has stuff to be desired. But besides that, I like what they're building. The O-line's going to be stout. The run game's been really solid with Josh Jacobs in there. I think Love takes another step forward this year and plays really well. And I think they have enough weapons to where, hey, if they can't figure it out now, what the hell are we doing? I believe in Golden. I think this team's going to be really solid. And I think they have the depth to go far into the playoffs.
Yeah, I have them at 14. I'm just really worried about the secondary. I just don't believe in it at all. And I think defensive line-wise, they can be fine. They can be good. And I think offensively they'll be really good. I think they'll have a top 10 offense with, in my opinion, a top 5 rushing game. I just think they're going to be maybe, I don't know, bottom 5 against the pass. I mean, Xavier McKinney is going to have to do a lot of good stuff next year to keep this defense afloat against the pass, because I don't like those corners at all. I think they need to go out there and sign some guys, but I don't think they're going to do so. But overall, I like their offense a lot. I know that their preseason showcase was not very good. I don't think that's a reflection of who they are, but it was a little concerning. I think you have Matthew Golden now as a bit of a safety blanket. I think they're going to be a very run-heavy team this year, a lot of Josh Jacobs, which is, in my opinion, what they should be. And that's what a lot of these top teams are. They're really run-heavy teams, and I think that's what the Green Bay Packers are getting towards. I just worry about the secondary. If the secondary was fixed up, they'd be a lot higher on my list, but I just really worry about that unit.
You have the Los Angeles Rams at 5. I have them at 10. Speak your truth, Metro. I know you are a huge Rams believer this year, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Why?
Yeah, I'm a big Rams guy. They actually fell, I think, one spot from my previous list. Let me double check.
Interesting.
They were.
They went up one.
No, they went up one, but they were one lower on my contenders list. I had them on the contenders list, I think, at 5, and I pushed them down, or 4, and I pushed them down to 5. Big reason why is Matthew Stafford and his injury concern right now. That is a massive question mark for me. If Stafford is not a full go, then this Rams team falls off a cliff, right? But
How far do they fall, real quick? How far do you think they fall in this ranking if Stafford's not starting for like 4 weeks?
I think Garoppolo's fine. He's good enough, but he's definitely not Stafford, of course. So if Garoppolo's a starting quarterback for a chunk of the season, they probably fall to 15, I think, right there with the Seahawks and Cardinals.
Continue, sir. Sorry. I was
yeah, no, that's a good conversation. I mean, that is a serious concern for me. Speaking of which, by the way, I think every team in that division is all in my top 17. So there's some good teams in that division. I think a lot of them are going to be quite hungry this year. I think the Rams have the best roster, though. Their defense is nasty. I think they'll be excellent against the pass. I worry a little bit about the secondary. I don't think they have a true cornerback one, and that could hurt them a little bit. But I think against the run, they'll be fine. They have the pass rushes for days. Offensive line is really good. Rushing attack is really good. You got Sean McVay. Stafford is just such a great quarterback at this stage of his career. He is a little bit physically limited, but he does a great job moving around in the pocket, making some tight window throws. And you added Devontae Adams, which I think will really open up this passing game for Puka Nacua and Terrence Ferguson and so much more. So I'm a big fan of this Rams team, but again, if Matthew Stafford misses time, then that puts a pin in that whole conversation.
Really good breakdown. I'll speak to the Rams here for about 20 seconds. The Rams, the only reason I have them lower, obviously, Sean McVay, top 3 coach in the league. He is fantastic. Throughout the season, of course, he's going to make a huge difference. I don't think the roster quite holds up the same as most of these do in the top 8, and it's being carried mostly by their best 2 minds in that building, which is A-okay. Whatever you do to win that way. But Sean McVay's fantastic. If you plug, like, for example, this is an obvious statement, but if you plug like a Schottenheimer into this role, I think they fall all the way into the 20s, if we're just being honest. But that's just me, though.
Yeah. Random shot at Schottenheimer there.
My bad, bro. My bad. I know you're a Cowboys fan, but dumb statement. No, but I think the roster is more limited than most of these guys. But they're a fantastic team, and they will be in the playoff hunt this year without a doubt.
Who do we want to Chargers?
Yeah, Chargers. I got them 6 spots higher. I have them at 5. You have them at 11. The Chargers, I'm a truther this year, guys. Metro's probably getting sick of hearing it, dude. But Herbert, I think he takes a step forward. Last year, he only threw 3 interceptions, which is unlike his gunslinging nature. He really honed in his craft and limited the turnovers. And I think this year it starts to all come together. Omarion Hampton, behind that awesome O-line, is about to cook in my eyes. Open play action, get guys open. I think Ladd will really eat in this role like he did last year again. QJ just got hurt, didn't he?
QJ and Rashawn. Rashawn also is out for the year.
Ooh. As in Slater.
Yeah.
Ooh. Uh-oh. Hey, guys, we got to construct these rankings. That is a big blow. But anyways, I'll keep talking about the Chargers. Assume I'm talking about them with Slater on the team. I think they have a great O-line. And then on the defense, I think they have a lot of contributing pieces from all over the place. You don't just need one guy to make the play. There's lots of places this production can come from. I think just a good roster with a good head coach and Jim Harbaugh, and I look forward to what they do here in this division.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, they have the depth there in the offensive line to survive the Slater injury. They're going to move Joe Alt to left tackle, and then they're going to move, I think, one of their guards over to right tackle. So they have the pieces there. They'll be fine on the offensive line. That's not really the biggest reason why they fell in my personal list. For me, they fell in some ways because of the injury, but for the most part, I just think there's a lot of really good teams that surround them, and I think the division kind of works against them in some ways. And for me, I just have some questions about Herbert in the playoffs still. I look at these other teams, and I know what I'm getting from them, and I don't know what I'm getting from Herbert in the playoffs, but I love their potential rushing attack. I like their offensive line still, even with the injury. I think their weapons are pretty fun as well. Some great backs. Quarterback's really good. So I like this team in general, but with the injury to Rashawn Slater and some question marks in the playoffs, it kind of does make me a little bit cautious with them.
Very nice, Metro. Now, from this point on, the top four, it's pretty vanilla. We have the same thing, just mixed around. 1 and 2 goes Ravens, Eagles for both of us. And then we have the Bills and Chiefs flipped. I have the Bills at 3. I have the Chiefs at 4. Metro is flipped. Chiefs at 3. Bills at 4, which is probably, based on history, the correct ranking. Which one do you want to dive into first? You want to go 4 and then 3 and then 2 and up?
Yeah, let's start with the Bills. Let's start with the Bills.
Bills. Josh Allen, badass. He just got Cook on a 4-year contract. Congratulations, guys. The NFL is turning a corner. We're signing running backs again. That's good to see going into this year. They're going to run the hell out of this guy on the ground. Their offense is pretty unstoppable. Their defense isn't perfect, but it's effective enough to get you in the correct dance. Yeah, man, I like this team. I don't see anything changing with Josh Allen at the helm, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, look, Bills have all the talent in the world. I think they're just as talented as these top teams. The only reason why they're at 4, in my opinion, is I think the Eagles are a little bit better. I think the Ravens are also a little bit better. And Bills Chiefs are really equal to me. But when it comes down to the playoffs, who do I trust in the fourth quarter with the ball in their hands? I'm trusting Patrick Mahomes. It's funny because Josh Allen's been hella good in the playoffs. He has been really good. It's just one of those things where it's like, it feels like even when Josh has the advantage, somehow, in some way, Mahomes gets that ball with 2 minutes left, and he scores every time. I mean, he is such a god in that sense. Like, he's so good at that stuff. It's bizarre. So that's why I have him there. I actually think the Bills have a slightly better roster. I have a couple questions with the Chiefs, but as long as Patrick Mahomes is there, you feel pretty good about the Chiefs.
Heck yeah, man. Do you want to discuss the Chiefs in more detail, or do you want to just go for 4 from there?
I mean, Chiefs, really quickly. I mean, they've been in a Super Bowl 3 years in a row. They're
kind of ass.
Yeah, they're kind of trashed. I mean, they lost last year in the Super Bowl. But no, look, you got Mahomes. He's probably the best playoff quarterback in the NFL. He's the most clutch quarterback in the league. This team just finds ways to win because of how clutch they are on both sides. Defensively, they can get a stop when they absolutely have to get one. Offensively, they can score points when they need to. Receiving core is now getting healthy, although Rashee Rice is potentially going to get suspended, but he'll be back probably for the playoffs. You're getting a little bit healthier in the running back room. I worry about the offensive line. I don't think the tackles are very secure, though I think Josh Simmons is a good talent. But they have the pieces on the defense to still be really good, albeit maybe not as good as last year, hence why they're at my number 3 and not a little bit higher. And I think the Chiefs fell down on my rankings. They were 3. They were...
You're right. They were 3.
Yeah, they were 3. So they stayed the same on this one. The one that did raise for me, though, was the Ravens. I had moved the Ravens from 5 to 1. Interesting.
Love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. How much does Rashee Rice being suspended concern you? Like, let's say he gets a 6-game suspension. Are you moving them in the rankings? Or are you saying it's still Patrick Mahomes, it's still the Chiefs and Andy Reid?
I'm not worried about it. They survived without him last year. They still made it to a Super Bowl without him. Him being there is awesome. Hopefully he's healthy. Hopefully the suspension is, not a huge deal. I do find it a little weird that it's taking this long for him to get suspended because this incident occurred not this offseason, but the offseason prior to this. It kind of feels weird that we're still waiting on this one. I don't know. I'm not going to go into detail with that one, but I feel like he should probably be suspended for at least, 6 games at the minimum. Maybe not, maybe more, if I'm being honest with you.
Completely fair. The suspension process is really interesting. For example, I feel like the NFL looks at teams and they go, "Why the hell aren't you signing our players early? This makes no sense. Y'all are so lazy and bad at this process." And then it comes to suspensions, and they just drag their feet as well. So obviously they're doing shit, but are they really moving the needle? Because things aren't quite moving at the speed we expect them to. But thank you for the breakdown on the Chiefs. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Whether you want them to be in the dance or you don't, they have witchcraft, and they're going to get there every single time. And let's go to the Eagles at 2. We saw what happened in the Super Bowl. The Chiefs had an O-line that was not ready for this kind of pass rush, and Mahomes got eaten up, similar to how he did in 2020. That's a lot of 20s. 2020 against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers when that defense was rolling on all cylinders. Kind of felt like an absolute blast of the past 5 years later. With that being said, the Eagles, amazing defense. The offense, also super stout. You talk about honing in a scheme and getting all the perfect fits for said scheme. It's poetry. It is poetry in motion to watch this offense go. Jalen Hurts, if he was in a different system, he doesn't have this kind of success. And you can complain about that, but I think it's kind of cool to watch them use his talents and his skills and his strengths to maximize this team's performance. And other teams should honestly take notes on how to do that as well. Metro, what are your thoughts on the Eagles?
Yeah, I think offensively they're really good. I think they just made a trade for John Mechie, by the way, which is really smart. I mean, he's such a quality slot receiver, and I think he works really nicely with this team. But they have a really good offense. I'm not worried about the offensive line with the departure of what's his name? Who left them?
Talk about the guy on the D-line?
No, the offensive line. He went to the Chargers. You guys know what I'm talking about. He went to the Chargers. But I look at this defense. I think there is some questions now with the defense with all of the departures of Milton and Josh. And, can a guy like Nolan Smith step up? Can some of these other additions step up? I love the Andrew Makuba pick. I think there's some depth concerns with the secondary, but all in all, I think the Eagles are still loaded with talent. I think they had a surplus of talent last year, hence why they won a Super Bowl. I think this year they lose a little bit of that depth and surplus, but they still have a top probably 3 roster in the NFL.
Mekhi Becton. It was on top of my tongue, too. I feel you, brother. Very good breakdown. For our final team, at number 1 at the top of this tier list, we have, guess who? You know who. The Baltimore Ravens. Woo-wee. You talk about a badass GM trickling all the way down to the kicker, man. This team pulls in one direction, and they are loaded with talent. Even in the draft, they got like a Mike Green and a Malachi Starks, who were crazy talented defensive players, and they're just going to be role players in the system for now while they grow into their entire role. I love this squad, man. I have no complaints. I love the quarterback, love the head coach. Is there anything that could be an Achilles heel besides obviously injuries for this team for you, Metro? I think they're so damn good.
Man, that's a good question. Achilles heel, I guess losing in the playoffs. I mean, they've been really close every year. It feels like that might be it. Going to Arrowhead. I mean, they lost to the Bills last year too, by the way. So that would be the one thing. Can they get over that playoff hump? They have such a loaded roster. They have the secondary, the pass rush, the linebackers, the scheme, continuity, the pieces on the offense, the weapons, the running backs, the offensive line. I mean, if Derrick Henry falls off a cliff this year, not literally, figuratively, if he falls off a cliff literally, then they're screwed.
We're going to have problems.
We're going to have some major problems. But figuratively, if he falls to Father Time here, that could be concerning. But I still think they have, plenty of firepower there with Keaton Mitchell as well. And I just think this Ravens team can beat you in a multitude of ways. And I think they're probably in a really good spot to potentially win it all this year. And shout out to them. They went from my number 5 to my number 1. So, but shout out to you. You were consistent. They're your number 1 this year, or this time. They were number 1. 3 months ago?
Thanks, man. Yeah, I guess I am consistent sometimes.
Yeah, there you
go. Anything else? Any closing remarks, Metro? This list has been a blast, guys.
Yeah.
It's cool to really scout it out and tier all these teams. You think you know what you have, and like you said, you watch it develop over the summer, and you kind of remove some bias, and you more just put paper to paper, players on players, and realize, hey, this is more what we think is going to happen. And as we know, Metro, by week 2, this list is going to be absolutely shattered. So, but it's still fun to do. Any closing remarks here?
Yeah, we'll probably do an updated power rankings a few weeks into the season, and we'll continue to update it till the very end. This is just our preseason power rankings, and by the end of it, it'll look a whole lot different. So, you guys let us know in the comments, what does your top 10 look like, and, what do you disagree or agree with us on?
Very nice. To what Metro said, comment below. Who's too high? Who's too low? Who's in your top 10 or even your top 5? We want to hear from you guys. You are the true fans. And yeah, you're kind of biased about your teams because so are we. I'm a Lions fan. I have them pretty high. And Metro's a Cowboys fan. He's got them higher than me. With that being said, let's hear your bias. Where do you have your teams? What are your rankings? Drop it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, the YouTube algorithm is dumb as a box of rocks. And if you don't like the video, it thinks you didn't like it, which is kind of dumb. So drop a like. We appreciate you more than you know. Guys, we love you. Have the best day. Metro, get us out of here.
Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.